It began with a buzz, a notification on my phone. I glanced down, expecting the usual barrage of news alerts, work emails, maybe a text from my wife. Instead, I found myself staring at a message that made my blood run cold. It was a group chat. The name, Houthi PC Small Group. The sender, Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth. And the content? A detailed plan outlining imminent military strikes in Yemen. My mind raced. How did I get added to this group? Why would senior Trump administration officials be discussing war plans on an app like Signal, notorious for its disappearing messages? This had to be a mistake, a bizarre technical glitch. Yet the messages kept coming, each one more alarming than the last. They spoke of targets, of weapons packages, of attack sequencing and timing. This wasn't a drill, this was the real deal. A wave of nausea washed over me as I read through the thread. I, a journalist, had been granted an accidental peek behind the curtain of American military might. The weight of the situation pressed down on me. This wasn't just another story. This was a matter of national security, of life and death. I had a responsibility to report on this, to expose what I had seen, but how, and at what cost? The messages painted a chilling picture of the inner workings of the Trump administration's war room. There was Hegseth, the ever-hawkish defense secretary, pushing for immediate action. He argued that delaying the strikes would only increase the risk of leaks and allow the Houthis to prepare. Then there was Vice President J.D. Vance, sounding a note of caution. He expressed concern about the potential economic fallout and the inconsistency of such a move with the administration's stance on European allies. Other messages revealed the administration's internal struggles with messaging and optics. There was talk of how to frame the strikes to the American public, how to justify the use of force, how to minimize blowback from international allies. It was a stark reminder that even in matters of war, politics was never far from the surface. The level of detail in the messages was staggering. They discussed specific targets, including Houthi military installations and leadership compounds. They debated the merits of different weapons systems, weighing the benefits of precision strikes against the risk of collateral damage. It was like reading the script of a war movie, except this was all too real. Hegseth's message on March 15, 2025 at 11:44 a.m. EST was chilling in its certainty. First detonations at 1:45 p.m. EST, he wrote. I glanced at the clock, 1:40 p.m. My heart pounded in my chest. This was it, the moment of truth. I frantically refreshed my news feeds, bracing myself for the inevitable. At 1:47 p.m., the news alerts began to flash. Explosions rocked Sana'a, Yemen. The Houthi-run Yemeni Health Ministry reported dozens of casualties. The Trump administration had made good on its promise. The strikes were real. The Signal Group fell silent. The architects of this operation had gotten what they wanted, but at what cost? The human toll was still unknown, but the early reports were grim. And what about the political fallout? The legal ramifications? The official response was swift but clumsy. National Security Council spokesman Brian Hughes confirmed the authenticity of the Signal Group, admitting that my number had been added in error. He claimed the messages demonstrated deep and thoughtful policy coordination, and that the operation posed no threats to U.S. troops or national security. Vance's spokesman insisted that the vice president fully supported the administration's foreign policy, and that any disagreements implied by the leaked messages had been resolved. Their words rang hollow. The damage was done. The world had been given a glimpse into the reckless and haphazard way in which the Trump administration waged war. Legal experts I consulted suggested potential violations of the Espionage Act due to the unauthorized disclosure of classified information. Others pointed to potential violations of federal records laws due to the use of disappearing messages. The accidental leak of these messages was more than just an embarrassing blunder. It was a national security crisis, a betrayal of public trust, and a stark reminder of the fragility of peace in a world on edge.